It is football season once again. What is going on, everybody? Steel Sermon in the house, premiering Saturday afternoon with another video. As always, do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe, follow on Instagram, link in the description box below. So back in April, I believe it was, sometime in spring, I think it was in April, back when the schedules came out, I made my initial Steelers 2023 schedule prediction, and I said around training camp or after or before the first week of preseason, I would do my final schedule prediction, and now here I am doing it right here. This is my second and final schedule prediction for the 2023 season for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I had some time to let all the games sit and give it some second thoughts or some, analysis that I may have left out in my first one, and I let the offseason go by, see some teams who got better or worse, and I think I've come to a good conclusion. This is my final schedule prediction for the Steelers for 2023, and let's get on to it. So, week one. It all starts off week one on September 10th as the San Francisco 49ers come to town as a 1 o'clock game. So the 49ers, obviously their bread and butter is defense. They have a phenomenal defense up there. Quarterback situation's a little, questionable for them. Are they going to have Brock Purdy in the game? Are they going to roll with Trey Lance? Even Sam Darnold's been getting some headlines, but I would imagine they're probably going to start with Trey Lance in this one. And that actually kind of raises my confidence a little bit because Mike Tomlin's track record with the Steelers has been phenomenal when it comes to playing quarterbacks who are either rookies or very young. And Trey Lance, I think this is his second season in the league, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe his third, but I think it's his second. But regardless of what it is, that actually increases my confidence a little bit. He's going to be playing a very physical defense. He's going to be playing a defense that loves to blitz, a defense that racks up a lot of sacks. But at the same time, you got to look out for guys like CMC, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk. I mean, those guys are nothing to take lightly at all. The 49ers, they got a stout defense and they have a pretty productive offense, but I got to tell you, just with the fact that the quarterback situation they're going through, it increases my confidence a little bit. And let's also not forget, in recent years, the Steelers have had a knack for not only winning in week one, but for beating some quality opponents too. 2021 knocked off the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo. And then last year went down to Cincinnati and beat the Bengals in Cincinnati to start the season. So, I initially had the Steelers losing this game, but after really thinking about it, something tells me that I just think we're going to upset the 49ers here. I don't know, I'm on drugs, I'm high, I'm drunk, whatever you want to say it, but honestly, I think I'm going to go upset here. The Steelers have also been notorious for being a thorn in the 49ers' side in the matchup between these two all time. Just look at the 1984 49ers, one of the greatest NFL teams of all time. They went 15-1 that season and won the Super Bowl. Who did their only loss come to? It was to the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I don't know, call me crazy, but I just got a feeling somehow, some way, we're going to pull off the upset in week one and shock the league and go to 1-0. You can't rule out our offense either. I mean, Kenny Pickett has been improving greatly in the offseason. It's going to be a big test for the O-line, no doubt about it, for Najee Harris as well, and for these receivers. It's just going to be a big game in general. But I'm confident we can actually win this game, and I think we are going to win. So 1-0. Next up is is a Monday night game on September 18th. The Cleveland Browns are coming to town for a Monday night football game, and I said we would win this one in my initial one, and I am sticking by that. The Browns, there's, of course, a lot of question marks around them. Can Deshaun Watson, live up to what he's projected to be? His contract has been an albatross so far, and the Browns are just paying for it. They got Elijah Moore in the offseason. Amari Cooper's back. They got a new defensive coordinator, so that's good for them. The only thing that really concerns me about the Browns, and I mean really concerns me about them, is Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb is one of the best running backs in the game, and he's just probably he's gonna have the backfield all to himself pretty much now that Kareem Hunt's gone. But it's just the Browns. They never play well in Pittsburgh. They have not beaten us in Pittsburgh in the regular season since 2003. And, of course, the last time they beat us was that wild card game. But that was only the second time ever the Browns have ever beaten the Steelers in Heinz Field since it opened up. And I keep mentioning it. Since 1970, the Browns have only beaten the Steelers 7 times total in the last 53 years. I think that trend continues. I think we improved to 2-0. I'm going to say we get the job done over Cleveland. Then week 3, we have a Sunday night football game. I have no idea why this is a Sunday night game, but whatever. We are at the Las Vegas Raiders on Sunday night on September 24th. I said initially that we would lose this game, and guess what? I am sticking by that. This screams a trap game for us. We never play well against the Raiders, especially when we have to go to them. Last time we won against the Raiders on the road was all the way back in 1995, back when they were still in Oakland. The Raiders, I think they actually got worse this offseason. I mean, Jimmy G is good, but he's just not elite, and he's just not an upgrade with them losing Derek Carr. I mean, Devontae Adams and Josh Jacobs are just carrying that offense, but do they really benefit Jimmy G's play style here? The defense is going to let them down this year. I really don't think Vegas is going to be all that good, but, it's just one of them games that we take for granted, and, me being a fan for over 20 years, I can tell you, these are games that we always lose. And I'm going to say that's going to be our first loss of the season to go to 2-1. Then week 4 on October 1st, we are at the Houston Texans, one of the easier games on our schedule. I maintain that we beat the Texans to improve to 3-1. I mean, Houston did get a little bit better in the offseason, but, not to get them out of last place, in my opinion. I mean, C.J. Stroud, I think he's going to be a really good player. They hired D'Amico Ryans, who's a good defensive-minded coach. They added, I think, Shaq Griffin, alongside Stingley, and they traded their first rounder for next year. So, I mean, it's a very young team that they have down there in Houston, but like I said, I just don't think it's enough for them to get out of last place. I'm going to say that we get the dub to go to 3-1, and yeah, depending on who the Texans start in this game, this could be another rookie QB loss to Mike Tomlin, as I said with my 49er pick, even though Trey Lance isn't a rookie, but you get the idea. So 3-1. Then we head on back home for week 5 on October 8th for the Baltimore Ravens, and I think we take an L right here to go to 3-2. This matchup, it used to be very home-dominated between the two, but in recent years, it's been very road-dominated. I mean, I know we swept the Ravens in back-to-back years in 2020 and 2021, but, before that, it was very road-dominated. Ravens have played us very well in Pittsburgh in recent years, and the opposite for us. We seem to play them better in Baltimore, and I think the Ravens, with the offseason moves that they made. Ravens usually get off to a hot start too, by the way. They extended Lamar Jackson. They have a new offensive coordinator. And, Bateman's back and healthy. They drafted Zay Flowers. Dobbins is still there. They still have Mark Andrews. Defense is still very strong, but I don't know. It's just that they go to our place, and they usually play us very well in Pittsburgh. So I'm going to say we drop one to the Ravens to go to 3-2. And then I still absolutely can't stand this. We have an early bye week this year. We have our bye week in week 6, which oh my God, I can't stand that. I also don't like that we have 2 Thursday games as well. But as I said in my first initial schedule prediction, at least with our Thursday games, both of them, they're home games when the previous game were home games as well. So at least we have that going for us. But that still doesn't change the fact that I just do not like Thursday games. In my opinion, the NFL has to do something about Thursday games. Like, Thanksgiving, okay, I love Thanksgiving football, but at least limit the amount of Thursday games, or at least limit it to one Thursday game a team. I mean, you just got to do something about it, because the NFL has a serious flaw with Thursday games, and it shows every year. But anyway, moving on. Week 7, we are at the Los Angeles Rams. One of the easier games as well. The Rams, I think they're honestly going to be terrible this year. The Rams, that cap situation that they're in is just horrendous. And even with Matthew Stafford back, I just don't see them improving much. I mean, sure, they still got Cooper Kupp and maybe Cam Akers, and now they just lost Jalen Ramsey. So pretty much the only thing that I'm really scared of with the Rams is Aaron Donald. I mean, don't take it the wrong way. Aaron Donald's a phenomenal player. He's one of the best defensive players I've ever seen in my life. He's might go down as the best defensive tackle of all time. It's not a hard argument to make. He's up there with Reggie White and Mean Joe Green. Aaron Donald's on GOAT status. He is a phenomenal player. But he's the entire team right now. The Rams, they went from the Super Bowl champions to being one of the worst teams in the league. And like I said, even with Matthew Stafford back, I just don't think it's going to help them much. So I'm going to say we actually get the job done over the Rams to improve to 4-2. I know it's been a while since we won in LA against the Rams. I think you'd have to go back to like the 70s for that. But, the Rams, with how they are right now, I just don't think they're going to be very good at all this year. They're going to be duking it out for the basement with Arizona this year. So I'm going to say we go to 4-2 with a dub against the Rams. Then we got a very challenging one coming up. We got Week 8 on October 29th. The Jacksonville Jaguars come to town. As Jacksonville, they made some massive progress this offseason. Trevor Lawrence developing into a phenomenal quarterback. Doug Peterson did a great job down there in Duval County. Doug Peterson, that guy just works so well with quarterbacks, and he has made Trevor Lawrence into what everyone was hyping him up to be. They didn't really make big free agency moves just because of last season, but what they're getting back this year, like Calvin Ridley, and you couple that with Travis Etienne and Jones and Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram, now you have Trayvon Walker in the pass rush to do for a good year. You got Bigby, Darius Williams, and Tyson Campbell. It's just a really well-balanced team. Jacksonville, they're going to be a tough team to beat this year. They could have honestly beaten Kansas City in the playoffs. They lost, but they were competitive. I would not sleep on Jacksonville at all this year. And, like with the Ravens, I mean, this is just a road-dominated series. The Jags, they always play us very tough in Pittsburgh. Obviously, the last time they came to Pittsburgh was that divisional game back in January of 2018 when they beat us. And hate to say it, but I'm going to say this is another loss right here. Jacksonville, they just are a very tough team. They're very improved, and they have a lot going for them this year. I'm going to say we drop it to the Jags to go to 4-3. And then we stay at home playing another AFC South team, as on Thursday, November 2nd, our first Thursday game of the year, the Tennessee Titans come to town. Now, the Titans, they're going to be a hard team to decipher this year. On one hand, they did just get DeAndre Hopkins, which is a big improvement to that offense right there. But my thing with the Titans is that really all you got to do with them is just maintain Derrick Henry. And honestly, kind of like the 49ers, I'm confident with no matter who they throw a QB for us, because is Malik Willis going to start for them? If so, he's inexperienced, and we all know what Mike Tomlin can do against these types of quarterbacks. And then Ryan Tannehill's just been like a non-factor lately for Tennessee, and honestly, I don't think he's going to make much of a difference for him. They lost some linemen on the team, but the Titans, they're a physical team. They got a very good rush defense, so it's going to be a big test for Najee Harris in this one. But like I said in my physicality video I put out, my physicality video I put out, it was one of those videos. But anyway, I said the most physical team is going to win this game, and it's no coincidence that it just so happened to be between the Steelers and the Titans when Chris Collinsworth said that opening day 2009. And I think this is a fist fight that's going to be won with brute and physicality, and I think the Steelers won up the Titans here just because Tennessee just doesn't really have much going for them in this game besides a great rush defense, one of the best running backs in the league, and musical chairs at quarterback. Pretty much it looks like. I just think we're a little bit more defined than the Titans are, and it's going to be a matchup of two really good head coaches between Mike Vrabel and Mike Tomlin, the battle of the Mikes. But we've had Tennessee's number since 2008. That was the last time they beat us, when the infamous game where Lendale White and Keith Bullock stomped on the towel after they beat us in Nashville to pretty much wrap up the number one seed. But hey, we won the Super Bowl in Tennessee. Actually, no, the Titans have beaten us a couple of times since then. I'm sorry, but basically we've had Tennessee's number since then, and I think it'll continue. I think we get the job done over the Titans despite it being a shortened week. Give me the dub over Tennessee to go to 5-3. And then we have Week 10, November 12th. The Green Bay Packers are coming to town in Week 10. Green Bay, obviously the biggest headline with them, no more Aaron Rodgers. He is with the Jets now. Jordan Love is probably going to be their starter for the whole season. So the Packers, just because of no Aaron Rodgers, even if Aaron Rodgers was still there, I really don't think Green Bay would be all that good. I mean, their defense is competitive, but they just don't have that same aura and that same spirit that they had in years past. And honestly, no matter who they have at quarterback this season, I really think Green Bay should just tank the season for Caleb Williams. I mean, it's not impossible to think about. If they're 100% confident Jordan Love is their starter, I mean, they have to deal with, Justin Fields improving in the NFC North, the Lions getting way better, and then Minnesota, who always plays them tough as well. I don't know. If I was the Green Bay Packers, I would probably just throw away this season and tank for Caleb Williams. So, honestly, I'm going to give us the dub over Green Bay to take 2 out of 3 with those 3 straight home games to improve to 6-3. So give me the dub over Green Bay. Then Week 11 on November 19th, we are at the Cleveland Browns, and I said before that we would split with them. I maintain that. We fall to 6-4. I think we get the Browns in Pittsburgh, and they get us in Cleveland, so that is going to be 6-4 right there. Then we stay in Ohio the following week. We head on down south to play the Bengals in Cincinnati on November 26th, and As I said in my first prediction video, I think we'll split with the Bengals as well. Both home teams winning each game, and I have not changed my mind on that. Obviously, the Bengals, they are, I guess you can say, the cream of the crop of the AFC North right now. But as I'm recording this video, Joe Burrow did hurt his calf in training camp, and he could miss several weeks. And, the opening season, week 1 is in question for him. So maybe Joe Burrow won't be 100% healthy for the entire season, but, he'll be good to go for this one late in the season. I have no doubt in my mind about that, literally. And the Bengals, they just added to their offense. They still got Jamar Chase, they still got T. Higgins, they still got Mixon, they still got Boyd, but now they draft Chase Brown and added Herb Smith at tight end. They did lose 2 of their best safeties, though, in Jesse Bates and Von Bell, so those are 2 big blows for the Bengals right there. So I think Dax Hill would need to fill in for them. But honestly, the Bengals, they're still going to be a good team. They're still going to be in good shape. I don't think Bengals fans have to worry about a small step back. So I maintain my opinion that we split with them, losing in Cincinnati, beating them in Pittsburgh to be 6-5 as of week 12. Then we got possibly, in my opinion, the easiest game on our schedule. Week 13, December 3rd, we have the Arizona Cardinals coming to town. This is a win right here, 7-5. The Cardinals, good Lord, did they get bad. Remember when this team was 7-0 halfway through 2021 and everyone was saying they were a Super Bowl contender? Well, they have gone from one of the best teams to being possibly the worst. And in my opinion, they are the worst. They just lost DeAndre Hopkins. Kyler Murray is still hurt from that ACL injury, I think it is. And he may not even play in this one. They don't have Byron Murphy anymore. J.J. Watt is gone. They drafted Paris Johnson, and they brought in Hollywood Brown and Rondale Moore, and they have a new head coach. But I did not think it was physically possible for a team to lose a head coach like Cliff Kingsbury and somehow get worse. But the Cardinals managed to do that. Arizona is going to be so bad this year. I got us taking this one at 7-5. And then we stay home for week 14, the second Thursday night game of the season for us, and it just so happens to be on my 28th birthday as the New England Patriots come to town. So this one might be a little tricky here. For one thing, we all know that for the better part of the last 20 years, the Patriots have been the boogeyman to us. We have not beaten them since 2018, and that was mainly during the Brady era where, Tom Brady pretty much owned everybody, but still, it is the Patriots that he played for during that time. But on the other hand, New England just seems to be the least talented team in the AFC East, in my opinion. They don't really have any standouts besides defensive guys like Judon. Their wide receiving room is poor, and they're relying on Mac Jones to have a breakout year this year. And while they did add Juju, so I guess it's a homecoming for Juju, it's not like it's a superstar move for him right there. What else did they do? They pretty much drafted a security blanket and Mike Gesicki, a tight end. But when you have a weak run game and you're relying on Stevenson to have pretty much an all-pro season, it's just a recipe for disaster waiting for New England. They are strong defensively. These two teams are a lot alike. They're both strong defensive teams, and they have a lot of question marks on offense. But if you ask me who the better offensive team is, I think it's us. Like I said, I think we're just more defined on offense than New England is. And the Patriots, they just have more question marks than we do. So, I'm going to say, despite us having 2 Thursday games, both at home, and both of them following home games from the previous week, I say we win both of them. I think we finally get over that hump and beat the Patriots, because after all, they beat us with Trubisky last year. Now they're going up against Kenny Pickett. Now they're going up against better targets. And I think we're just going to... I would just love to just stick it to them and say, hey, we snagged your lineman by trading up. This might be the Broderick Jones Bowl right here. Because remember, the Patriots, they were favored to get Broderick Jones, and then Omar Khan conned New England out of Broderick Jones when we traded up at 14. So I guess you can call this a Broderick Jones Bowl, and I think that we continue, and I think this time we're going to rub it in their face. 8-5, Steelers get the job done over the Patriots in Week 14. Week 15, we are at the Indianapolis Colts. I don't know why it says time and date to be determined, but if I had to just take a guess, it's probably just going to be a Sunday afternoon game. But the Steelers at the Colts, and I'm going to give us another dub here just because we always beat the Colts. I mean, it doesn't matter how bad we are or how good Indy is. We always beat these guys. They have not beaten us since we won Super Bowl 43 back in 2008. And that was back when, Peyton Manning was their quarterback. It just doesn't seem to matter. Even when they did have Peyton Manning, we gave this team a hard time. The Colts, they come in with a lot of expectations as well. They got a creative run game. They drafted Anthony Richardson, who's a very athletic quarterback, and he can run the ball great as well. The O-line did have a little bit of a down year, but, Jonathan Taylor is still there. And I guess they can kind of develop more of a read option system kind of offense. I really want to believe that the Colts can be a good team this year, but it's just a bunch of what ifs for them. And they honestly could take second place in the AFC South, but everything has to go right for them. And it doesn't help that they lost Gilmore and Okereke, but they still have Shaq Leonard at linebacker, and they drafted Julius Brooks. But depending on how well Anthony Richardson plays with a new head coach who helped out Jalen Hurts, the Colts are either going to be boom or bust this year. That's my final point with them. They're going to be very boom or bust. They could have a phenomenal offense if everything goes right, or they just look like still in a transition stage. But regardless, I'm going to say we get the job done over Indy to improve to 9-5. Week 16, our final home game of the season. We are at home against the Cincinnati Bengals on December 23rd. That is, I guess you can call it a Sunday night game. I mean, it starts at 4:30 in the afternoon. It's going to be dark by then. So I'm going to call this a Saturday night game. But anyway, Steelers and the Bengals in Pittsburgh. I maintain that we split with the Bengals to improve to 10-5. By then, these two teams will probably be duking it out for a playoff spot, and there's literally no reason to not believe that. So I'm going to say we get the job done over the Bengals, earn the split with them to improve to 10-5. And then we have Week 17 at the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks, they are going to be a very interesting team this year. Last year, obviously, they took everyone by surprise with getting rid of Russell Wilson. Everyone thought they were done. But those 3 draft picks they got, they used them very wisely. And Geno Smith had a comeback season. Seattle made the playoffs, and they got even better in the offseason. Lockett, Metcalf, and Walker are still there, and they drafted Jackson and Jigma from Ohio State and Zach Charbonnet. And then on defense, they still got Kobe Bryant, not the basketball player, but they have a corner named Kobe Bryant and Cohen there, and Bobby Wagner is back, and they drafted Witherspoon. Seattle got really good in the offseason. If they had a playoff season in what was supposed to be a throwaway season for them pretty much, just imagine what they can do. They can put up points on the board, and their defense can look better as well. That's what scares me for this one. And I said in my initial prediction that we'd lose this game. I'm sticking by it. Seattle gets us in Week 17 to fall to 10-6. And wrapping up the season, we have the Ravens in Baltimore. Probably going to be Sunday afternoon. It could even be late Sunday afternoon. But the Steelers and the Ravens, They beat us in week 5, and I'm going to say we earned the split with them again. We beat them in Baltimore again. We are 5-1 against them in Baltimore since 2017. And the Ravens, for as good as they are, I will admit they are good. They are very prone to late season collapses. And I think this might, and with us playing better in the second half in recent years, I really do think that we can go into Baltimore and possibly put a dent in their playoff hopes and beat them in Baltimore again, while we could clinch possibly a playoff spot if my predictions hold up true. 11-6. That's my final record prediction for the Steelers, is 11-6. Now, our ceiling, if everything, and I mean absolutely everything goes right for us, I think we can win 2 more games. I think our ceiling is about 13-4. Just the way we improve the offensive line, the defense and the pass rush gets better. TJ Watt stays healthy for most of the season. Maybe, he misses a game or 2, but he stays healthy for at least 15 out of 18 games this year. Kenny Pickett shows that he can avoid the sophomore slump. Najee keeps doing what he does. The young studs that we drafted, show potential in what they have. And finally, Matt Canada opens up the playbook a little bit more. Mike Tomlin's still the head coach. I really do think this team can win 13 games if everything goes right. Our floor, I'm saying, is about 6-11. That is, Kenny Pickett has the sophomore slump. Najee doesn't improve. The offensive line remains pretty much the same. TJ gets injured again. The defense just gets bullied. They kind of picked up a first half slump like they did last year. Basically, everything goes wrong for us. I think our floor is about 6-11, But, yeah, that's my final schedule prediction for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think we can win 11 games. Looking at the schedule, it's not impossible. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. This is Steel Sermon checking on out for the night.